Assalamualaikum. Today our topic is focal hepatic lesions, especially focus on the liver abscesses. Extensive use of imaging studies has increased the detection rate of hepatic lesion. A mass can be found either incidentally or during screening for liver cancer in patients with cirrhosis. These can be benign or malignant, and thus the right approach for assessing these masses is this purpose, diagnostic evaluation utilizing a combination of history, physical examination, basic lab finding, and imaging has an accuracy of more than 99%, which exceeds the accuracy of either core biopsy. We can classify these lesions into benign and malignant. Benign liver lesions include hemangioma, focal nodular hyperplasia, hepatic adenoma, liver cyst, and liver abscesses. While most common malignancy include the hepatocellular carcinoma, and rare ones are hepatoblastoma, fibrosarcoma, angiosarcoma, leiomyosarcoma, and we can classify these tumors also depend upon their vascularity. So hypervascular lesions include the hemangioma, adenoma, follicular nodular hyperplasia, which malignant one, and hepatocellular carcinoma, hypervascular metastasis. While the hypovascular lesion include the hypovascular metastasis, other benigns like simple cysts, biliary hematomas, biliomas, abscesses, and cystadenoma. The third classification of these lesions depend upon the imaging. So on imaging, we can describe these as anechoic, hyperechoic, hyperechoic, and mixed echogenicity. In anechoic, there is cyst, necrosis, abscesses, cystic tumors, and biliomas, while hyperechoic lesions include nodular hyperplasia, hematoma, lymphoma, complexes, metastasis, primary tumor, and necrosis. In hyperechoic, once again nodular hyperplasia, metastasis, and new one are the myelolipoma, granuloma, and primary neoplasia. Mixed echogenicity includes the abscesses, hematoma, metastasis, and nodular hyperplasia. So liver abscesses mean there is a collection of pus or pocket of pus within the liver. It can be classified into three main varieties. Pyogenic abscess, which is mostly due to the polymicrobia. Amoebic liver abscess, which is due to the Entamoeba histolytica. And fungal abscesses due to the Candida species. Diagnostic difference between the amoebic liver abscess and pyogenic liver abscess can be done on the physical examination, history, and investigation. Like leukocytosis is more than 50 in both serum, but serum antibodies to Entamoeba histolytica is present in amoebic while it is not. It is negative in the pyogenic. Aspiratory pus show no microorganism in amoebic liver abscess, but there is bacteria in the pyogenic liver abscess. Jaundice is uncommon in amoebic, but it is common in the pyogenic. Abnormal chest findings are not there in the amoebic liver abscess, but they are present in the pyogenic. The amoebic liver abscess usually occur in previously healthy young patient, while the pyogenic liver abscess occur in the already immunocompromised and older patient. Pathophysiology. The liver abscesses are more common on right side, right lobe, but why? Left lobe receive blood from the inferior mesenteric and splenic vein, while the right lobe receive blood from superior mesenteric and the portal vein. So these streaming effect in the portal circulation is caused. What are the infective agents? Especially for the pyogenic liver abscess, the gram-negative bacteria include E. coli. Other common organisms include the Streptococcus faecalis, Klebsiella, Proteus vulgaris. In patients with endocarditis and infective indwelling catheter, Staphylococcus and Streptococcus species are amoebic liver abscess. You can see in the left, most common on the right side, but it is multiple. It can be multiple, so it is also on the left side. You can see. Most common presentation of any type of liver abscesses include the fever, either continuous or spiking, chills, right upper quadrant pain, tender hepatomegaly, anorexia, malaise, or diarrhea is present in 1/3 patient with differential diagnosis include the acute gastritis, bacterial pneumonia, biliary disease, cholecystitis, hepatocellular carcinoma, hydrated cyst, parapneumonia, pneumonic pleural effusion, or empyema thoracis. How can we differentiate? Physical examination and then test. Test include the lab test first. Most common are the neutrophilic leukocytosis, elevated ESR, elevated AP level, elevation of transaminase and bilirubin level are variable. Blood culture are positive in roughly 50% of cases, and culture of abscess fluid should be the goal in establishing the microbiological diagnosis. ELISA should be performed to detect the Entamoeba histolytica in patients either from the endemic area or who have traveled to endemic area. Indirect hemagglutinin assay IHA is the most sensitive test in imaging studies include the ultrasound, CT scan. You can see here the CT scan show there is a hypoechoic area in the liver. These are the principle of management of pyogenic liver abscess include the drainage of pus. Whenever there is a pus, it should be drained. So, how the liver abscess drained? There is some institute appropriate antibiotic first, and then drainage of pus according to some special approaches. Deal with any underlying source of infection. Percutaneous drainage combined with antibiotic has become the first line and mainstay of treatment for most of the pyogenic liver abscesses. We can categorize the treatment of hepatic abscesses as needle aspiration, bacteriological culture, initial empiric antibiotic therapy, adaptation of antibiotic therapy to the culture. Then gram, if there is a gram negative or gram positive anaerobes, amoebic, and fungal infection, we should have to know that. Drainage option. We have two types of drainage option, either percutaneous or surgical drainage. Percutaneous drainage include the needle aspiration or catheter drainage, while the surgical drainage include the open and lateral. Percutaneous needle aspiration should be under CT scan guided or ultrasound guidance. Needle aspiration of cavity material can be performed. Needle aspiration enables rapid recovery of material for microbiological and pathological evaluation. Large percentage required second or third aspiration to achieve success. Percutaneous catheter drainage. Percutaneous catheter drainage has become the standard of care. Should be the first intervention considered for small cysts. Pus is too thick to be aspirated. When wall is thick and non-collapsible, and pyogenic liver abscess is multiloculated. Advantages include reduced cost, it enhance the recovery time, it eliminates the need for general anesthesia, and also allow for gradual control drainage. A catheter is placed under ultrasonic and or CT scan guidance via the trocar technique. The catheter is flushed daily until output is less than 10 ml per day or cavity collapse. That should be documented by the serial CT scan. Contraindication to catheter drainage include the coagulopathies, a difficult access path to the cavity, or there is peritonitis, or there is complicated multiloculated thick walled abscess with viscous pus. In these cases, we have to go for the surgical drainage. Antibiotic therapy should be cover gram-negative organism and anaerobes. First-line antibiotics are penicillin, aminoglycoside, and metronidazole, and cephalosporins and metronidazole. These are two types of regime. Can be changed after culture report. IV antibiotic therapy should be continued for at least 8 weeks. Some studies suggest that antibiotic should be administered parenterally for 2 weeks, and then appropriate oral agents may be used for further 6 weeks. What are the indications for surgical drainage? It includes the failure of non-operative treatment. Number 2, intraperitoneal rupture of the abscess. Number 3, the presence of complicated multiloculated thick-walled abscess with viscous pus. And number 4 is the treatment of underlying intra-abdominal process like peritonitis. Existence of a non-abdominal surgical pathology like diverticular abscess is also an indication of the surgical drainage. For surgical drainage, there are two types of approaches. One is open and one is laparoscopic. In open technique, we have again two types of approaches. One is transperitoneal approach and other is transpleural approach. In transperitoneal approach, it allows for the abscess, drainage and abdominal exploration to identify the previously undetected abscesses and the location of an etiological source as well. While transpleural approach is for high posterior lesions, easier access to the abscess, identification of multiple lesions or other intra-abdominal pathologies is lost. That is disadvantage. Laparoscopic approach is used in selective cases, should be by the experienced and well-equipped sector. Now came to the management of the amoebic liver abscess. Management is mostly medical by the metronidazole 750 mg 3 times a day for 7 to 10 days is the treatment of choice and success rate is 95%. Aspiration of abscess is not commonly needed, but when needed it should be under these conditions. Number 1, when the abscesses are large. Number 2, when they are super infected by some bacteria. Number 3, impeding rupture or rupture into the abdomen or there are some compression signs. Number 4, there is a thin rim of liver tissue around the abscess, less than 10 mm, and it is seronegative abscesses. In these conditions, we have to go for aspiration of the amoebic liver abscess. Failure in improvement following a non-invasive treatment after 4 to 5 days is also an indication of aspiration. Abscesses of the left lobe of the liver at risk of rupture into the pericardium should be treated with aspiration and drainage as a treatment of choice. Amoebic liver abscess should be drained mostly via open drainage. Rupture of amoebic abscess in adjacent viscera is indication of open drainage. The amoebic abscess has necrotic central portion that contains a thick reddish brown pus-like material. This material has been is like that the anchovy paste or chocolate sauce. Treatment of intestinal carriage is by luminal amoebicidal agents like paramomycin 25 to 30 mg per kg per day orally for 7 days in 3 divided doses. Other possibilities are diloxanide furet or idoquinolone. Long-term monitoring is must in all kinds of liver abscesses. Weekly serial CT scan or ultrasound examination to document adequate drainage of the abscess cavity and maintain drain until the output is less than 10 ml per day. Monitor fever curves and persistent fever after 2 weeks of therapy may indicate the need for more aggressive drainage. For patients with an underlying malignancy, definitive treatment such as surgical removal of the mass should be pursued if at all possible. Patient on prolonged parenteral antibiotics monitoring of RFTs and TLC may be needed. Complication of liver abscesses. If we not treat the abscess properly or timely, then it may lead to sepsis, empyema due to rupture of the abscess and rupture of abscess into the adjacent organ or intrapleural rupture of the abscess, and then it may lead to the peritonitis, endophthalmitis when an abscess is associated with the Klebsiella pneumoniae bacteria. So, whenever there are symptoms, you have to go for the proper history, examination, investigation, because abscesses should be treated timely and adequately, and you have to decide what treatment should be ended here, and now when you have to drain, when you have to do the medical therapy. So don't damage your liver.